in a bad situation, you know. If you don't know the terrain of a place, it's better to have, you know, good tires that'll get you out of some wicked shit. Most stock tires that come on these bikes are the kind of tires you just use up commuting around town. But now this road, you know, you can get by on stock tires, stock whatever they have. They put Bridgestone Trailmasters or whatever they are. They're not very good tires, but they would do this road. But if you add, you know, super big ruts and slimy mud and all that shit, forget it. You just, oh, now see, this is a nice little waterfall here. See, if you were dying of the heat, that's a little pool there. Nice little waterfall. How do you like that, huh? That would be a nice little picture, but it's dark in here. It's okay digital, but my film cameras be too dark. I didn't notice that coming up. Shame on me. I normally keep an eye out because, you know, I'm usually driving at a snail's pace, so I don't normally miss things like waterfalls. But that's just a little branch. That's not like a real waterfall, but it's still pretty. But it's sort of nice that most of these trails do have a water source. I wouldn't voluntarily want to drink that water, but, you know, to wet your bandana and just to freshen yourself, it's nice. So far, I like my new Camelbak. It's an Osprey. It didn't break the bank. Some of these... Oh, we got a phone call coming in. Imagine that. Potential spam. Isn't that awful? Potential spam is the only person who calls me. What was I talking about? Oh, my Camelbak. It holds like 2.5 liters, which is more than ample. And I freeze it overnight in the ice box. And it stays pretty good. It stays cold the majority of a day riding. But if you're actually doing the camping thing, you know, you don't have the way of freezing it. So but most of my rides are day rides. What I would like to do in the near future is put the bike on the trailer and go over to Suches, over to two wheels, and maybe camp out a couple nights during the week or something when it's not mobbed. This weekend is going to be mobbed there because I think it's some Catalucci dual sport thing going on. So it'll be wall-to-wall people, and all of the trails will probably be very, very, very crowded this weekend in Suches. But it's a pretty nice little spot there, and that's only about, it only takes me a little over an hour to trailer the bike there. I'd like to trailer it, and then I can take my camp stuff in my truck, and I don't have to worry about packing the bike to the hilt. And I used to motorcycle camp on my KLR when I had the KLR, the big KLR, the 650. But as you know, I'm not a KLR 650 fan. Those bikes will do these roads fine. I'm not hating on KLRs. I really like to get a 250 KLR. I like the 250s. The 650s are just a John Deere on two wheels. They just chug along. But they're too heavy for my own personal taste. But anyway, this bike, I wouldn't waste my time trying to put, panniers on it or load it up with camping gear, because I really don't like taking it on a lot of highway use. I like doing this kind of stuff, but I don't think of this as an adventure bike. It's just a fun little trail bike. So I get off on all these tangents. So I'll throw this on the trailer, take my tent and my camp gear, and maybe spend 1 or 2 nights at Suches, because there's a lot of riding in Suches. I normally like to just, leave about 8 o'clock in the morning and ride till about lunchtime, or maybe 1 or 2 at the latest, and call it a day. I have a couple trails that I like over there, and I don't bother with like Flatlands Road because it's gnarly city. Not my thing. So this is, I think, the way we should have gone in the first place. But now we took you up to, the other spot. So I answered that question when you said, I wonder where that goes to the right. You should have gone there. Well, we did go there. And it ain't the road to Robinsonville, I'll tell you that much. See, now here's another little tangent, and that has a road closed sign on it too. Those are just auxiliary Forest Service roads, and they open them if they need them, but they don't particularly go anywhere. So we've been going down here for a while. I don't know if we're going back up again or what, but we'll find out. Now, supposedly Tatham Gap is sort of like at the end of this road, and that's where it transforms into that other Forest Service road. And then I believe it turns back into a paved road, which goes up through Robinsonville. But this is mostly hard-packed dirt here with some loose gravel. But just about any bike can handle this road. Even the bigger, heavy adventure bikes won't have any problem on this road. There's no big rutted out sections or anything that's gnarly or anything. We just had, a minor sightseeing detour. Coming down here under an idle is going to probably push my mileage up in the 70 miles per gallon range. Now my bike runs a little bit on the rich side because I did increase my main jet, I increased my pilot jet, and I put one shim under the needle jet. These bikes, these carburetors, the stock carburetors from the factory are set really lean. You take your plug out and it's like white. So my plug is sort of a dark gray. It's not sooty, or it's not, you know, it's not foul looking, but it's not anywhere near the whitish color that if I left it stock. And I had to take the plug out of it, you know, the mixture screw, and that was turned out, I believe, like 3 turns. I added 3 1-inch holes to the airbox for more air, and I took the snorkel off. Now I also have another new lid for my airbox. If I know I'm going into any kind of questionable water, and I'm not a big fan of deep water, but if I know the trails have some like knee-high water or whatever, I will switch out the airbox, because one of my 1-inch holes is relatively low in the airbox, so just for a precaution, I don't need water being sucked down through my airbox. And another tip, if you do get into water crossings, normally you have vacuum lines that are coming from your carburetor. They're just usually black rubber lines, and they're usually routed down through like where your spillover from the gas tank, and maybe you might have a line coming from your float bowl. Well, take that vacuum line and route it up higher, because some bikes, if those vacuum lines are submerged underwater for any, you know, a couple seconds to a minute or something, it can cause your bike to stall. It'll mess up your air mixture, and it can make your bike stall. So it's good just to, as a precaution, get a hold of that vacuum line and just route it up higher to, like, you know, up around the airbox or somewhere. And then that way you're not restricting that vacuum. I had a bike that would always stall in the water, and when I rerouted that vacuum line, it did away with that problem. And then I've had other bikes where I've done nothing and it never stalled. So, but now I always do that just as an added precaution. There's nothing worse than you going through the water and you know, everything is going fine, and then the bike just stalls. Like, are you kidding me? You know? Now, I don't know where that road to the left goes, but I'm staying on the more traveled mainer looking road, and I still see a lot of tire tracks on here. They look like car tire tracks, they don't look like knobbies, but that tells me, that's a pretty good indication that this is going to take you out or up to Robinsonville when you see those tire tracks. But this has been a pleasant ride so far, so for the majority of the first part was, of course, all uphill, and now we're doing the downhill leg. But it's not so steep that, you know, it's very manageable. I've got to order a new brake pedal. The guy who had this bike before had some off-road crashes with this bike. He bent the handlebars, and I think he got his brake caught on a rock or something. It's bent in a way where it's bent up, so it's very hard to cover the brake. Normally, when your foot is on the foot peg, the brake pedal should be just below that, so that you just tap down. Mine is above because it's bent. So I'm going to get a new foot peg instead of trying to whack it. I'll take it off and look at it, but chances are it must have been hit on a rock, or I don't know what he did, but he wasn't really, in my opinion, he wasn't a very good rider. I mean, I bought this bike and I had some missing spokes on the back tire, and some of the spokes were loose. And I don't know about you, but I don't like riding a bike with missing spokes and loose spokes. You're just asking for problems. But he acted like, oh yeah, no problem, man, yeah, no problem. I said, yeah, alrighty then. Okay. Not everybody maintains their bike. Oh, now let me see. I want to see what this says over here. The old Army Road, Trail of Tears. Yeah, this has history to it. The Trail of Tears, when they moved the Indians. Somebody put their little marker. So we're on the right way. My friends, we're on the right way. It's just a funny place to put that plaque, I think, but some of the magnolia trees are still out. This is another little branch. Another place to wet your bandana. I wonder if you're allowed to camp in here. I have no idea. I'm still waiting for turn signals for my rear. The last ride that I did on Rainbow Springs Road, got up to Wirebald Lookout, and it's like, oh, I don't have a left turn signal anymore, just completely gone. So I gotta put that back together as soon as it comes. Well, that's a pretty little creek. I'm doing a little research once again on motorcycle GPS stuff, and so far I really like the Garmin Zuma XT. If anybody has one, let me know how you like it. Now here's the Asphalt. As you know, I used to have a Garmin Montana, which is a very capable unit, but the learning curve is steep. Well, at least for me, because you know, I'm sort of technology challenged kind of a person, and I didn't use it that much. So I'd use it, I'd get familiar with it, then I wouldn't use it for maybe 6 months, and I'd come back and it's like, oh shit, how do I find my tracks? Or, you know, what's the deal? I want to see what this sign here says. Oh, it's an adult retreat, Whisper Mountain Ministries. Okay. It's not the best place to be just stuck here on a... some kind of retreat there. Okay, I know this video is probably really long, so I'm going to wind it up since this is pretty uneventful. We're on blacktop. So we will catch you on the next gravel excursion. There's plenty of gravel roads where I live, so let me pull over here and stop all of this. So thanks for joining and taking a little look at the Tatham Gap Rd. Sometimes it's a challenge just finding neutral in this bike. Okay, I'll shut up. Y'all guys take care, ride safe.